I'm Carol Poon, and my father was Alan Poon, my mom's Shirley Poon, and we were part of the Poon clan of Joan Him and Arlene Poon. That's my sister.
I'm Jasmine, and there's three of us. There's my older sister, Carol, and me, and then my younger brother, John. And we came to be in this part of the city in Chinatown. I basically grew up there. It was my first home in Chinatown on Center Street. It was the first place I lived with my sister and my parents and my grandparents. The people who I call grandparents, Chong Him and Arlene Poon, where Chong Him was actually our great uncle. But I only knew him as my grandfather and grandmother.
So I guess that means you grew up in this building then that we're looking at here.
Yes.
So perhaps tell me a little bit about your family's history behind this building and also behind this building, Linda May's, and what they used to be.
Well, this building was a fourplex, and the Poons owned the two more northern buildings, and the Wongs had the two southern ones of the fourplex. And I don't
From the time period that we're familiar with.
Because there's other history that we're not completely familiar with.
Yeah.
Exactly. We grew up here, and that was our home until 1967 when we moved because the neighborhood school was closed down and most of Chinatown had left.
Which is now the James Short
parking lot.
Okay,
It was a James Short school.
correct. Okay. What about this building? What's your family's history behind this building? Tell me a little bit about this.
Jong Him and Arlene built this building on the corner.
Which is right across the street from where we are now.
Yes, right across the street from where we are right now. And they built that building after they had the restaurant of New China, which is in the Canton block. So they had the New China restaurant, and then after that they built this building, the Linda May's block. It's called officially now the Linda May's block in the city archives, and it's been designated as a historical site. And that just happened this last year. It was designated a historical site. In this building, they had the coffee shop in the bottom and a gift shop. And originally there was office spaces in the top.
So what we're looking at here is like the older version of the first, more original iteration of Linda May's.
Yes.
And the newer updated renovation that took place, in the 60s? This one?
Yes,
Ish?
I believe it was in the 60s.
So you said there was a gift shop down here and the coffee shop here. What was sold in the gift shop?
All sorts of Chinese things, like teapots and jade and...
My aunt said that there was like cheongsams and the dresses, and so Chinese novelty, I think, items.
Yeah,
And-
slippers.
And the coffee shop, what was served there? Like what kind of place was it there?
It was coffee, and they had jukeboxes and pies and ice cream and pop and lots of coffee, and they served Chinese food and Western food. Like the burgers were incredible, and those memories of burgers and fries and...
It's interesting to think about there being like a Chinese menu and also a Western menu, and
Yes.
like kind of dividing those for the different kinds of like patrons who would come in.
Yes,
Right?
because a lot of people just came for pie and coffee because they had the whole selection of pies and pastries. I know at one point my dad was sent to Vancouver to learn how to make a lot of that. So,
And upstairs?
at that point, after there became the Linda May's Lotus Garden, and I think
Essentially a Chinese restaurant.
It's a Chinese
higher end.
fine dining
Fine
restaurant.
dining
And there wasn't any other Chinese fine dining restaurants in Calgary at that time. I don't remember if they were the first one or if Jade Palace, but they were basically it.
One of the more first fine dining Chinese restaurants.
And up there they sold more. It was mostly the Chinese foods in the Lotus Garden.
And you know, at one point, Chong Him and Arlene had a number of grandchildren. So in the upstairs lounge, we each had a drink named after us, a non-alcoholic drink named after all of us grandkids. So that was kind of fun, you know.
That's so cool.
Yeah, have a drink named after you in a restaurant.
Do you remember at all what the Jasmin Poon was, or what the Carol Poon was?
Mine was a Carol's cooler, and it was a lime cooler.
I can't remember my name.
I remember mine. So
my cousin has it.
What do you think that these, you know, this establishment like Linda May's, the coffee shop, the gift shop, and like the Lotus Garden, what do you think they meant, you know, for you, but also what do you think they meant for the greater Chinatown community?
what they meant for the Chinatown community was, it was significant because there wasn't that many Chinese. I remember in the 50s and 60s, there's still a lot of discrimination, and the racism was quite rampant. And there used to be the fights where the non-Chinese people would come down to Chinatown and pick fights at the end of the night when they got super drunk. And then Linda May's brought a higher level, elevated. And then you had more of the prominent people coming to Chinatown that went to these establishments instead. I mean, if you go on, there's a site on the Facebook, you grew up in Calgary when? And people would know Linda May's. That was their first experience of Chinese food, right? It's the Linda May's. And people still know the Linda May's. And of those generations. So it was very significant. Chong Him Poon played a big part of preserving Chinatown at that time because it was the 1960s and they wanted to bring a freeway through Chinatown. And he, along with a few others, can't remember their exact names, but they were called the Big Four. And they worked hard to preserve Chinatown, to keep it alive and not have the freeway built through it. So it was significant. It was a place that people knew that bridged the Chinese and Western cultures. Arlene Poon was extremely fundamental to this. She was born in New Westminster, BC, and she had a lot of, I don't know how you put it, she knew how to talk and be with people. Chong Him did actually.
Strategic. Yeah.
Well, she also spoke the English.
She spoke English really
Spoke
well,
English.
right? It's because she was born here. But Chong Him didn't speak English.
I see. She was a bridge in a way between
Yeah, she was a bridge
cultures.
a lot because she did a lot of paperwork, helped immigration people immigrate here, and
Conversation.
helped people bring to doctors and all those things. So very instrumental to the life of Chinatown. And what it meant for me is that we were part of it. And this was home. This was home. Yeah.
I think most people would say that the first place that they grew up in is where they feel home. So that this house is the first home I ever lived in. And then when we moved out in the mid '60s, we still came down every day after school, and we came down here. So it was still home away from home, even after we moved out.
We came down to go to Chinese.
We came down here. We had dinner with the family, and we went to Chinese school and stuff like that. We played in the neighborhood. It was so fun. Things have changed. There used to be houses in Chinatown, which we don't see now.
Sure.
And we used to play. I mean, we just played walking around the neighborhood, Center Street, crossing, and everything like that. And for me, going into Linda May's, I mean, I was just a kid. I remember my grandma sitting in the back room in the gift shop and playing, and then the gift shop used to sell fireworks. So we would set off fireworks, and that would be very fun. And for the cafe, I remember going in as a kid, and going and getting my ice cream and root beer and making a root beer float. And then there used to be a dumbwaiter in the kitchen, and I think almost all of us grandkids played in the dumbwaiter.
Only when it was off time.
Because the kitchen was downstairs and the restaurant was upstairs, so you had to get food and dishes.
And also there was the basement where they made a lot of the things by scratch.
Kitchen,
the
right?
prep kitchen was all made by scratch. Wow. They made crepes to make egg rolls. They made their own noodles. I mean, that was way before the time people made, so they made their own.
Before packaged noodles.
And so they made all the wrappings and all the noodles all fresh, and they did all the prep work down there, making the fries, cutting. And so that was in the basement. So then the dumbwaiter would take some of the stuff into the main kitchen area, and then prep stuff kitchen, and then up to the upstairs for service.
And our family, in terms of Chung Him and Arlene's children, were very integral part of that, helping run the family businesses and stuff like that, and as well as my dad involved as well, cooking. So I think it's very important. I think if you do talk to people who were here in Calgary in that time period, they will remember Linda Mays. And
they would know the Poon family. Sometimes they would still say, "Oh, you're a Poon. Oh, did you know
XYZ person?"
Right. Yeah, because that was a Poon's.
Well, and Linda May was actually the youngest daughter of Chung Him and Arlene. So
it was
the
named
restaurant was named after her. Yeah.
So that is the old Linda Mays, and this is the old fourplex residential building, correct? That you used to live in?
That would have been right there.
Yeah. What do you remember about what was where you entered your home, where the gift shop entrance was, or?
Okay, so if we're talking about this fourplex, it would be split pretty well in the middle of where the open sign is, like that half would be one half and the other half would be the other half.
I see. Where the circular windows, it'd be like split in half.
Where, yeah. So we would be entering.
I'd say we'd be entering kind of around where that bistro door is
There's one door there, and then there would have been another door. Because it was a fourplex, but we never used that one door because it was all made into. They separated part of the wall so that it became one unit, one family unit to use.
So in terms of our family side, the Chung Him side, there would have been two doors to the street, but we usually only use the left door to enter and exit.
Yeah. At one point, we were above grade level. They built up the street.
They raised the street like about 10 feet.
Yeah, substantially. So we had to go up a few steps to go into the house.
Yeah, the sidewalk wasn't like the way it is right now.
So what did this used to be?
This would be the entrance to the gift shop. This would be the door entrance to the gift shop, and you go in, and there'd be the display cases and everything else. And then it would go in towards the back, and Grandma had her office, and then it would connect into the kitchen in the back. But yeah, this would be the entrance.
And the entrance here, the sidewalk would have been lower, and we would have had a few steps to go up.
So steps to go up.
Just to go up, and then the doors. I don't think the doors was a single door. I think it was wider door.
No, I don't think so.
But was there also still like a storefront windows here where some of the curios would be displayed?
And then when you walked in this way, and then there would be a tiny a door to go into the
gift
cafe.
shop. Yeah.
No,
the gift shop
gift shop to
the
cafe.
coffee shop.
Yeah.
The coffee shop. And the coffee shop was this way?
This
So
way.
the coffee shop was this way.
So this would be the coffee shop.
All the way over here with the windows.
Yes, this is all the coffee shop.
And then the main
entrance
entrance.
to the coffee shop would be right here.
And we go in the coffee shop this way.
Go into the coffee shop. Yeah. You go into the coffee shop, and there'd be booths along the side. There's a jukebox just on the
A
inside.
jukebox right there.
Yeah, and the jukebox would be right there, and all the booths would have jukeboxes on them. They have jukeboxes along the counter.
Yeah, there'd be a long more like of a diner's counter.
So that would be going into there, and then you'd have another door. So in the coffee shop, there'd be one entrance going into the gift shop, and one entrance that goes up towards the Lotus garden, the dining room.
Which the Lotus
Which
Garden
garden would
also had
be-
another entrance right
had
here,
that
right?
entrance over here. So these windows would probably be, and you look out, and there'd be the tables with the things, and then there'd be ending here, and then
this
would be
entrance.
the entrance to the Lotus Garden.
And then we go
This
upstairs.
is the main entrance to Lotus Garden.
Yes, this was the main entrance to the Lotus Garden. There was the door here, it wasn't used that much. And that was the stairs that went into the
The
basement.
basement where the prep kitchen was.
Right. And then you go up the
and then you
stairs.
go upstairs
and
to
then
the restaurant.
the restaurant up on top.
And the
then you go here.
signage obviously has changed throughout the years, but it looks like the old structure
It's
for
the
Linda
same.
Mays is the same. It
It's
just
the same.
the new business owners have
No, because that's
their
part of
name
the-
on it, right?
People sometimes would think of Chinatown, they drive down the hill from Center Street and they'd see the sign and that was one of the signs of Chinatown.
This, like for
The
me,
markers of
The
China.
markers, yeah,
that's
the
a marker.
marker.
Like for me, that's I don't know. It touches my heart that it's still up there, even though it doesn't say
Yeah.
Linda Mays anymore. It's still the structure of what was originally there.
Yeah, so. But that was the building and then we go here and then there'd be an alleyway. Again, it was down, it did go down.
Here was
It
the
went
alley.
down, yeah.
And it went to a big parking
Big
lot.
gravel
structure.
parking lot.
And then there was 2 houses here.
Like small little wooden bungalows from back in the day.
2-story houses.
Two-story houses.
And in front of the house there was a white picket fence and there was grass and flowers and we'd run along that patio area to play.
And we played in the parking lot too. We
played in that parking lot back.
Which is the backyard to the house, the duplex.
Yeah.
So that would have been our backyard as well.
Yeah, we along here and played in the back. And it was all interconnected in a big empty parking lot space in the back. It's connected.